Hey, how's it going? I hope your day is going well. And here we are with another HTML and CSS project slash contest that we're going to use to build a login card here. As you can see from the onset, it looks pretty straightforward. It's nothing really too complex here. But as we start to type within our input fields, we can see that we have a little bit of we have our placeholder text that's going to move from the being in the middle of our input down to the bottom of our input. And also, once we start to add text, we're going to see that our placeholder is actually going to change from a gray color to more of our branding color here to show us that our validation logic is being taken effect. So if we just click here, we'll see that, hey, since we didn't add any text, our validation for our first name is going to fail, especially if we click our submit button. As you can see, we don't have any information, so our validation for our first name is going to fail. But as we add information, we're going to see that that right there is going to pass our validation. And then if we click our submit button, the next element is going to fail our validation, which is going to be our last name. Then if we just add information here, then we click our submit, it's going to go right next to our next input. Here we are with the email input. As we can see, we have information as we type here, we will see that that yes, we have text here, but it's not actually a valid email. So that's why our validation logic would still fail here. As you can see, it needs to have the @ symbol here. It's missing the @ symbol. So as soon as we add the @ symbol plus extra information after the @ symbol, now we will see that our email placeholder text will turn that our branding color, which will notify the user that, hey, yes, this is actually valid. And same things with the password, add text with the password, and we just keep clicking, and there we go. Yeah, and when you submit your form, it should actually remove all your information. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward login card. So for the most part, it has everything that you pretty much will have seen before, with just a little bit of more complexity here. Since we're doing everything without JavaScript, we're going to just stick to just CSS to build out all of our logic that you see right here. So now with that being said, let's jump into the project. And so here we are within our project file. And as you can see, we have a bunch of boilerplate information here. We have a bunch of HTML already set for us. Now, if you download the project file, it will come with all of this information for you. So you don't have to, try to find the font the font that we're gonna use for our project. It already has the CSS linked for us. It also comes with a style guide that's going to show all of our brand colors that we're going to need. Again, here we go again with our font, which font that we're going to use, and it's also going to have the font sizes already set for us so we can actually use in our projects. That way we don't have to look and try to see, oh, okay, which font size is actually being used within our mockup. Now that we have all that information out the way, let's actually start to build our thing. So first thing we're going to want to do, let's just open up our mockup and add it as another tab so we can have it there. The first thing we're going to want to do is work on our form here. Let's just do a little zoom in and move over. Okay, and so from that, first thing we're going to want to do, let's just add it as a form. And with the form, let's just add our class really quick. Since we're already here, let's just log in, do lowercase there, underscore form. So then we are going to add I would say like the header section of our form. To do that, let's just add a P for that. And we're going to add our register, um, register information there. And let's go down and add the sign up now. So another P tag for that. We're going to do sign up now. Okay, looks good. And while we're here, let's just add the classes for these paragraphs here. So we'll just call that the title, and then we'll call this one we'll just say this one as the login message. Okay. Let's just actually add this, the first part, at least our name inputs. Let's add those in its own separate div. So to do that, let's just add a class to that. We're going to call it login name parts. And then let's, okay. Yeah, everything right there. Everything up to this point is pretty straightforward. Nothing out of the ordinary. But now here's the first thing that's going to start to deviate. We're going to want to add all of our information inside a label. That way we can kind of like group it a little bit more, and you will see why we're going to add it as a label once we get to our CSS. Okay, so then we can add our input within that label. And this is going to be our name. So we'll just leave it as a type text, and let's just say it's going to be required. Okay, it's going to be required as placeholder. And so here's another one. We're not going to add our placeholder. We're not going to add the text to our placeholder property here. We're going to do that as a span. So we could just add the span right now. And we'll say that as first. And then we're going to just say the class. We're going to just add a class as inputs. Okay. So we have the type, required, placeholder, and class input. Then we have our span here. Okay, great. Now we're actually going to just do the exact same thing for the next input, again being our last. So we just copy this, move it down, and just say last, which is going to have the exact same properties here: type, required, placeholder, class. Okay, good. Now that we have that, now let's move down. Well, no, now we actually have that information. Let's actually head to our CSS and start to add our, again, so CSS is going to be in our asset styles folder. Open that up, and then as you can see right here, again, this is coming from the project template, which is going to have all of our variables, all of our color variables set. It's going to actually have our font sizes as variables. Also, the body is going to be set as also. We actually don't need this body container. We actually can just move this up there. And we should also be able to set the this right here, which is going to be margin. We're going to just remove all the margin there, and same thing with padding. So this just removes all of the inherited stuff. We're also going to want to say box size to box border box. There we go. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. And let's just do a little bit of cleanup there. Okay, now let's just start grabbing our information from our HTML file, start adding it to our, zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see. Okay, there we go. So let's start adding that. Grab that. Let's see if I can move this over a little bit more. There we go. The login title. Now we can start adding building out our CSS for our login form. So from here, we're going to just go straight to flex instead of trying to figure out anything else. For that, we also going to because we're going to set the direction of our flex to column, since the inherited since the default flex direction is a row. We don't want row for that. Let's just add some gap information between. So just already define all the gap information between all of our elements, flex elements. So we just do that as 10 pixels. Let's see the max width. Let's say a max width of 350. Background color. Let's set the background color to, let's see, background color. Yeah, it's like a white whitish color. So our whitish color is going to be this cloud whisper color here. Okay, go over here. Var, set that as var cloud whisper. Let's see what else. What else are we gonna want to set? Seem like we're gonna need to have a little bit of padding around all of our elements. So we just go ahead and just add the padding as 20 pixels to get that going. Then we also gonna need to set the border radius. Okay, so border radius, let's set it as 20 pixels. And I want to say that's about it. Now let's come over here, reload. Okay, looks good. There we go. So we have our register. We have our sign up now message. Looks good. The corner radius, the color for the background. We have the spacing in between. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. At least for like the form, that looks good. Now, and to actually center this into the middle of the page, what we're gonna want to do is come back over to the body and just set the height of this to 100 HV or VH, and it should center it directly in the middle of the page. Great. Okay, that looks good. Let's see, we actually gonna need to remove this margin. There we go. Now it's gonna be centered in the middle of the page. Great. Okay, now we have that. Now let's go down to our title. Okay, let's see. The title is gonna need a size of 16. Well, the body is already, the body is going to be set to 16, which I think is already set. Let's go up to the body. Let's see. Body size. Okay, yep. Body font size. That's already set, so we don't need to worry about that. But the title, we're going to need to set that as 28 pixels. We're going to need to set that as 28 pixels. Okay, so which is, I believe, is already set. Yeah, it's already set as a variable up top. So let's just go down and set its font size var as title font size. Yep. And then we're going to want to set the color of it. Let me actually move that in. Then set the color. Set the color of, let's see, does the style guide define the color of our input or our title? It does not. So that does not, but let's see, what should it be then? I think it's like this darker color. Is it, or no, wait a minute, it's actually, yeah, it's actually that orange color, not the dark color, which is the city streets color. So we'll just come over here, add that, save that. There we go. We have the color set and font size set. Now we just need to set it as regular, regular. I think that actually should be, yeah, it actually should be like a bolder color. Let me see. Let's actually go back to the HTML. Let's see. It's typically the bold is set as 700. It's actually set as 600 here. Let's actually change that to 700. It does a reload. Okay. Then we can actually come over here and set the font weight as 700. Reload. There we go. Okay, well, let's actually try well, I don't think 600 will actually gonna work. Okay, yeah, I guess 600 still actually works. Okay, but for the most part, I think, yeah, 700 is really should be, yeah, this actually should be bold 700, and the title actually should be bold. Okay. So we have the title set as bold. Let's see what else. What else are we gonna want to do with the title? Let's set so we could just say the font size bar of message. size, which should be right here, already defined for us. And we just set that. Remove this space, save. And there we go. The font shrunk down a little bit more. Good. Well, we actually do. I'm trying to think. Do we want it to be that size? I don't think so. I think it's a little bit too small. So we're actually going to disregard that font size for our login message. Okay, so let's see. Now what we do need to set its color though. So the color is going to be, go back to our mockup. It's going to be like a grayer color. And the grayish color is, let's see. I think it's probably this one. This one is as gray, but it's not as dark gray. Let's actually move on. Now we have that. Do we need to, oh yeah, so we're gonna need to move on to our parts, our name part. So to do that, and again, since we already stacked up as a column, we're going to want to use flex to push them in a row. Then let's see, put them in the row, yeah. And then we're actually gonna want to define the gap as 10 pixels for that. Come back over here, reload. There we go. Just put a little bit more space there. Okay. Now that we have that, next thing we're going to want to do is work on getting our span inside our input. Okay. And to do that, what we're going to want to do is now let's just going to start working on our input. So first thing first, we're going to want to turn our log, go to our, we're going to want to target our label. We're going to take our label as position relative off the bat. And we're going to want to come over here and target our input. So login form, label dot input. Okay. Then we're going to want to say the width of a 100. 100. Where is the percent? There we go. 100%. Got a little bit of padding. Padding of, let's say 10 pixels by 10, 20, 10. Okay. We're not gonna have an outline. We're gonna remove the outline. Outline, set that to 0. Then the border. Let's just quickly just update. Okay, yep. So yeah, we're just styling our input for now, but we're actually gonna move our span later. As you would probably think, we're gonna just really, for the most part, we're gonna just take our span and display it as absolute, and then just kind of move it up. But for now, let's just keep styling our input first. So as you can see, our border is like a blacker color, but as our mockup, we're gonna want a more grayish, that grayish tone. So we're gonna say border, border 1 pixel, solid, solid. Then we're gonna var it as that darker gray, which is this one right here. Scroll back down, then set that. Okay, there we go. Have that grayish color. And then we're also gonna want to set our border radius to give us that nice looking round edge, which is gonna be 10 pixels. Okay, there we go. There we go. Nice. Now comes a part of moving our span up. So we're gonna do a login form label dot input plus span. And if we look at this, yep, it's the label elements, then a span inside the elements. Yep, that's exactly what we're trying to target. And then, like we said a little bit earlier, we're gonna change the position of this to absolute, and we're gonna just want to put the left of it to 10 pixels because we don't want it to be directly on the edge as when we move it up. We're gonna want to push it off a little bit, and then the top. Same thing with the top. We just set that as 15. And if we save that and quickly come back over here, now we can see that our span has moved up. It's moved up, but as you can see, as we're typing, it didn't move out of the way as we type. Trust me, we're gonna get to that point, but we gotta have to finish styling our pseudo placeholder here. Oh, okay. To do that, let's just add the color for our span slash placeholder. We're gonna want to set that as that lighter gray color. Yeah, lighter gray color, because we don't want it to blend directly into like the border edge. So we want to just put make it a little bit lighter. So there, save that. Let's see the font. I think the font size will need to be changed also for our for our label. This right here, regular. Okay. Let's, yep, we already have that defined. Great. Font size bar again. And then, okay, it looks good. And we're going to want to put a transition on this. And we're going to use the transition. Transition is going to be used to do our, when we actually do the click and when it actually transitions or animates down into like the bottom edge of our input. The transition is basically going to just make it a little bit smoother as it actually transitions. And then we have that. Let's save that, reload. There we go. It moves it and it looks good. Now we're going to just want to do one extra step here. Now that we actually have that, now let's actually do the actual animation part of this. Yeah, the actual animation part of this. So the animation is going to be done basically on the focus. So when we click, it needs to move away. It needs to stay down, part of like the validation logic and part of the validation logic. Okay, so to do that, let's come over here and set the login form label. Well, we really just can just grab this instead of typing it all out. Grab that, and then we can say input on focus. Yeah, on focus. Then yeah, because then this right here says we want to target the span. We're gonna say top 30 pixels, and we're gonna change the. So if you go over here and we reload it and we click, okay, now it moves down. Great, exactly what we want. But what we're gonna want to do, we're gonna just want to make it a little bit smaller as it goes down. And also it didn't transition. Why? Because we didn't specify the second part of here in that transition. So if you can actually come back over and reload it and click it, now it should easily move down instead of just snapping down and instantly. Okay, so let's go back down over here. We're gonna want to, if you go back to our mockup, we can see that our span slash placeholder is actually a smaller text, which should also be, which is also inside our style guide. So our style guide says that we're gonna need to replace the font size on the focus, which is basically right here. So our font size, we're gonna do var, go back up to our inputs and grab there we go, grab the variable for our font font input that has a focus. I need to do that. And one last thing, as you can see, it might be a little bit harder to see, but we can see that the span is not that thick. I mean, it has like a more thicker weight to it, which means that we're going to need to change that to a bold weight, bold font weight. So we can just go here, font weight, set that as 700, which means our bold weight. Reload that. If you click it now, you can see that it actually moved down. Well, now if we actually enter our text and click away, we can see that it actually moved back. That's because our validation logic is not, it's not staying based on, it's only staying based on the focus. It needs to stay also if the input has been validated. So what we can do here is basically just copy this and just say if it's actually valid also. Oops, yeah, we actually have a comma there. The reload, If you click tag, there we go. And then if you click away, it actually stays at the bottom because it's actually validated and looks good. Okay. Yeah, we actually need to change the color of it once it actually moves down. Now to do that, what we can do is we're actually going to need to add a second class that just says, hey, if it's actually valid, why are we not going to add the color up into why are we not going to add the color up here? Well, simply because we're going to add more. We're actually going to add more to this. That's not going to have to, that's not going to pertain to the color once we add more, more targets up here. So for now, we're going to just add it below here, var, and then it's going to be like our city street color. If we come back over here, there we go. It stays the color. And our brand color actually gets applied to it. So that looks actually pretty good. Now that we have those, we have the first and the last, looks good. Now that we have that, let's actually move down to our email. Now the email is going to be a little bit different because we need to basically have it respond to two different states. If we go back to our example one, we can see right here that when we type it in, it should do our normal, it should do like the normal animation and move down. But it also should not change the color to our brand color until it's valid. Now, okay. And to do that, it's gonna be a little bit tricky because what we're gonna want to do, okay, first we're gonna just copy that down and let's just add two different classes to our label. We actually don't need the input. That's not actual input, but there's a label. We're going to change this to type. It's type to email. Type to email. There we go. And then the placeholder. We're actually going to have a space within our placeholder so we can actually do our validation. Well, not our validation logic, but the logic to actually determine if there's actual input or not. Now I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit when we get to the CSS. So it just be email. There we go. Okay, now that we have our email, go back to what we were actually building. There we go. So yeah, from right here, looks pretty good. Everything looks fine, right? But as you can see, as we click away, that also doesn't act correctly. So that's basically based on, let's say if we have like the placeholder with no space in it, and we actually do the reload, right? We click. Okay, looks fine. We click away, up, our span moved right back up. Now, why is that? That's because, yeah, we need to do a little bit of logic here that says this right here. We're gonna need to do this right here. This is just an extra target that basically just says, hey, it's doing the exact same thing as this up here, but it's just saying, hey, if the placeholder is not shown, which, you know, the placeholder is not shown for our input plus the span, then show this information. And that's why we added the placeholder of is like a space within our placeholder. So once we start to type any information within that input, it's basically going to say, hey, the placeholder will not be shown anymore because now we actually have information in there. So if you click away, now it's going to stay. And if we actually do our add this plus that, yeah, this is actually going to validate to true, which this right here is still gonna kick in for us. Yeah, because the input is now valid. The color for that, our brand color, will actually kick in for our email also. What else do we need? The password. Okay, yeah, password is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much the exact same as our first and last. We could just copy that and come down here and do the same thing for the confirmation password. So this one just be password. This one will be password also, but it's just be confirm password. Yeah, go. And we're gonna need to change the type to password and change that type to password. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, the required doesn't change. Placeholder doesn't change. And then if we come back over here and just reset, it should pop right in. And all of that should work as expected. Then if we then from there, we just need to add, let's go back to our mockup and see what we need to add. So we just need to add the submit button and then like this footer information at the bottom. Okay, so from there, let's just add a button. Come on, button. The class will be submit and the text will also be submit. So let's just grab this here, move over here and capitalize that. Okay, great. Then from the bottom, we'll just add a paragraph there, and then we'll just say class sign up. And then the text will be have a what was it? Oh, have an account. Have an account. And then we'll just add our sign in as a anchor. As an anchor, well, add a hashtag for that. And then I think it's just sign in, I believe. Sign in, yeah. Okay, cool. And then we'll just add a class to that. Let's see. Do we add, okay, well, we actually don't need a class to that because we can just target it to the sign up class. Okay, there we go. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good there. Let's just save that and we come over here. Yep. And let's see. Let's go back to our style and see what we can do here. Okay. Now let's just target the submit button. So yeah, this is pretty much a standard button. Yeah, we're gonna do standard button styling here. So we're gonna from the border, we're gonna remove the border. We're gonna, remove the outline, set that to none. We're going to set the background color to our brand color. So that's gonna be yeah, city streets. Let's see what else. We're gonna do the padding. Put the padding to, let's do 10 pixels for our padding. Let's see, we're gonna do our border radius. For the border radius, let's do 10 pixels also for that. Let's do the color. Our color is gonna be I believe it's gonna be a white color. Yeah, it's gonna be a white color. The white color, and the white color is gonna be on Cloud Whisper. We'll just grab that and bar. Let's see, Whisper. Here we go. And then we're gonna just set the font size. I believe we need to set the font size. It doesn't say anything about the pixels. I mean the how big the submit button is, but I think it's gonna be the body size. Yeah, let's just set the font size as body font size. Yep, and that's it for that. Let's save that. Reload. There we go. Yeah, pretty standard styling for our button. Nothing crazy there. And then, so I think the only thing we need to do here is, yeah, let's go back to our example. Yeah, we're gonna need to set the hover effect on that, and we're gonna need to set the cursor for that also. Let's set the cursor here. Cursor being the pointer. Save, reload. Yep. And then we're gonna just need to set the hover styling. Hover is hover. There we go. And we just set the color of the hover to the background color to our city streets darken. Okay, let's save that. Back over and reload, and there we go. Looks pretty good. Now the only thing we're gonna need to do at this point is style our bottom footer or bottom sign up footer information. Okay, so let's see. Style guide for so the bottom doesn't say anything about the oh no, because yeah, the message. Wait, okay, so I guess the message could be the same as the bottom. Let's just set that there. So we're gonna do target that with the sign up, sign in, not sign up, sign in, font size, var. That's gonna be our here we go, message font size. Okay. Let's save, reload. Didn't like it changed. Make sure this is actually correct. Oh, it's actually sign up. Let's change it to yeah, it's actually sign in. Sign up will actually be this form, not the other one. Okay, so we come back over here, reload. There we go. Now it actually went smaller. Looks good. Let's see what else. We need to set the login message as the same dark color. So instead of redefining it, we'll just go up here and add it up here and set a comma. That way both should take effect. There we go. Both of the gray color. Yep. Both of a gray color to it. There we go. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need to do a text center. Let's center that. So let's do text align, center it. Okay, reload. Great. Now that we have that centered, great. And I think the last thing we need to do is just target the anchor, which we're gonna do pretty much a standard anchor styling. So we're gonna just do font. So yeah, we're gonna just remove our underline with a text decoration of none. And then we are going to set the color of it as our brand color, I believe. Yeah, it's the brand color. So it just be var city streets. There we go. looks good. So we have pretty much everything in place. That works. Da, 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 da. If we do, and yeah, that should validate. My email validation should kick in. Normal text validation kicks in. It. Yep. Add that. It's not an email, so that. Okay, sign in. Should go to the next one. Go. Looks pretty good. So there we have it. We have pretty much implemented this login, login card, I guess you can say. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Nothing stood out. And yeah, besides that email validation logic to, yeah, we're gonna have to set a placeholder as, wait, let me see. Let me actually remove that and see if that's, yeah, the placeholder. Yeah, we're gonna have to have a space in the placeholder, because if we don't have it, it assumes that it's always, you know, has some text there. Now if this video was helpful in any way, remember to go into the comment section and leave and let me know. If this video didn't help you in any way, remember to also go in the comment section and let me know. Now, until next time, I hope you're having a wonderful day and see you later.